Well, meeting to order here. Everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from February 6th. When you guys feel confident in that, I'll take a motion to approve. All right. Thank you very much. So I guess right now we're going to take some reports from committees. Audit, Ms. Atwood is absent today. Building, we have not had a meeting and we need to schedule one. So I'd like to ask if Landon would like to set in on that as soon as we get something scheduled.
You let me know when it is.
I sure will. I sure will. I appreciate that. Codes and zoning, we do not have David here. So we'll have to defer his report. And then so we'll be D will go to emergency services. Amber.
We haven't had a meeting.
Have not had a meeting. All right, we're moving along. How about you, Landon?
Of course, we had a finance meeting prior to the February work session night where we had a couple of items on the agenda, nothing that was major. With 3 school pieces that ran through. They were all transfers, no new. We did have a motion or resolution that was put into place to Miss Amy has been asked by the comptroller to include the ARPA funds that were remaining in their own line item. So they had to be transferred to their own line item. You'll see the 171 is the number that you're going to start seeing in your budget forms and things. When you see 171, it is a new line item, which is ARPA funds that are remaining. Don't look at that number and think that's how much money is left in ARPA. Remember, there are allocated funds that have not come in, such as, actually, I think one has come in. I don't know if Amy's wrote the check yet. As of the finance meeting, she had not written the check to cover the waste truck that had come in at that point. So, but it has arrived and the money is sitting in ARPA at that time. So it looks like there's money sitting there that's not there. Remember that there's 5 sheriff's cars that have not been purchased out of that lease that are budgeted. So when you see that 171 fund and it looks large, know that there's quite a few items that are still coming off that piece. That was the main pieces of budget and financing where we stood at this point. We had a strong look so far at overtime, which is continuing to come up. There's some new pieces inside the our wage study piece that came to play. We call it the wage system. Now it wasn't a study anymore. It was a wage. It's our county's wage system that has some differences in how overtime is paid. Like for example, our sheriff's department, when they're on holiday pay, that's coming out of the overtime fund. So there's been some discussion on how we might can look at that in different ways to make sure that they're separated. So it's, in other words, if you're getting holiday pay, it's always been holiday pay, but now it's coming out of that overtime line item, where we're seeing that overtime line item kick up pretty heavily. So we'll see if we can understand why and how those are getting diverted, I guess, in different ways. We are keeping a track, just like we've been doing with EMS, where there's 2 areas where overtime has gotten pretty heavy on the county EMS and on the sheriff's department. We're seeing that line item kick up and over budget. The other item we discussed at length, I shouldn't say at length, but that won't go to bed, it seems like, is the streetscape project, which if you saw, we voted in to approve that in the last meeting of the last payment of $25,000. Right now, Miss Amy believes we should receive back somewhere in the neighborhood of $55,000. I know it's like, why you pay 25 to get 55 back? You have to finalize one account before they would fund returns, and those funds are back to us. She thinks somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 55,000 is what we should get back. If the TDOT ends up actually refunding, we'll see. But something to keep your eyes on and keep a look at. that's, budget and finance, pretty much what we had in our February meeting.
Thank you very much. So we do not have Shane here for law enforcement, so we'll move on to personnel. Mark, do you have anything?
No, we're good.
All right. So then we're gonna go down here, we're gonna put Terry in the hot seat.
We hadn't had a meeting since our last county court meeting, but I'll give the highlights from our meeting on February 21st. First discussion was held on the park projects down here. They have come up with a date for the pre-construction meeting. It is March the 12th. That's on the new playground. They did find a contractor around here to perform the concrete work. It'd probably save us $2,700 to $2,800. We're waiting for TDEC to approve the contractor. And also, we thought the new playground would be done sometime in the spring, but Cliff said it's more like looking like fall now before it get completed. Then we talked about the pool, discussed it a little. The pool parties will be 2-hour parties, no 3-hour parties this year. We set the fees and all, I think, and stuff from last year. But we hadn't opened, this coming March meeting, we're gonna try to set the opening date and the closing date of the pool. We've got a meeting, our next meeting is March the 13th. We also talked about, Cliff's probably gonna be needing a new trash truck, the one that goes around with arms on it, picks up the cans. That was discussed, possibly coming out of urban services budget. But, I told him, let's look at more figures from the urban services fund balance and all that, and then bring it from budget and finance. But, he is needing the new truck. And that was about it. Like I said, our next meeting is March the 13th at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
On that truck, I was the one that brought up the discussion there that I thought that should come from urban service, and just
Understood.
Mr. Griggs did a great job there with it. The why was urban service is what district is served by that truck. So that truck is the truck that does your door-to-door pickup. Currently, we only use door-to-door pickup in urban service. So, and Mr. Slade has done it. We asked Mr. Slade to get us, I'm always looking at budgets and money. I'm a little bit tight with money, it seems. But as I look at the cost, we asked him to get us some rental or lease truck cost. And it appeared that lease would cost us more than the truck in 5 years' time. And he's gotten 11 years out of the truck that he's gotten. So that's the reason I'm looking at urban service in that case. And if you can get 10 years more out of a truck like that, you're getting it about 30. I think it was 330,000 roughly. So you're talking $33,000 a year. Not a bad cost on that truck if you can get 10 years out of it. So that's where the discussion for urban service was at.
I wonder if there's any possibility of having one of them older ones rehabbed enough to where it could be a backup.
He
wanted to use it now.
Oh,
the current one that's got 11 years out of it. The only issue is it's having some engine issues that he can work on, and Cliff does a really good job of getting that done in-house, and he can work on it. He just doesn't have time to take it down right now to do the work since there's nothing to back it up. So
100%.
he thinks he can get this one to survive until that point, and then do the updates on this one, and it's still run for him. It's not an issue with the bed. It's not an issue with the hydraulics or any of that piece that actually run the service part of that vehicle where it can grab, claw, and move. That part is not an issue. It's just an engine issue at this point in time that he needs to work on. It didn't have a lot of miles. He spoke the number of miles, but if you think about it, it's just around town, your urban service area.
I think he's only back up now. It's the old truck where you ride on the back of it, and these cans these days, it's so big now, it's hard for them to pick him up.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
also that truck requires 3 individuals to run,
Yeah.
where the other requires 1. And that's smart budgets there.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense to purchase the other.
Right.
He did think that that truck could be, because I think, and the reason I mention this now, I'm trying to get Cliff to put that on this budget in March. I'm not wanting to put it on next year's budget. I want to put it on this budget in March. And the reason I say that is he thinks he can get a truck pretty quick. Let's get a truck now before we lose the engine on the other one, which he said would cost somewhere to 70,000 to 80,000, I believe, that meeting to fix, where he thinks he can fix it right now with some gasket issue and just his own ability inside the in-house to fix. So I mentioned that more right now because we're trying to get him to push that into right now. It is a
It's urgent.
necessity, urgent piece, and we don't want to be at a point where, in my opinion, we don't want urban service individuals who are paying tax to have that happen and paying for that to happen and it to go down. It could be costing us a lot more to make that work,
Absolutely.
especially in a time and season where mowing's headed our way and things of that nature. It's also get busy. Pools headed our way.
Yeah,
We don't need a lot of trash cans sitting on the side of the road still that can't be emptied in a day's time. We don't want that scheduled at all.
thank you.
While I'm on that piece, there's been talk in the past, there's some options where Bridle Path and some of the others had asked for that type of service. We would have to extend urban service a bit to make those things happen, but it might be worth the look as we go forward.
Absolutely.
Just something to think about.
I mean, it's been discussed several years about extending urban services, but it's nothing ever.
We've got to push it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we gotta pick the can up.
That's correct. It's been kicked around.
Hey, speaking of pushing,
Our convo about the checklist that went along with the wage study, we called a checklist. So there's a performance review that supposedly went out last year for everybody to fill out on their employees. What happened on the in-between? I don't know, but Amy did show me on her computer where there is one that's completed for this time, whenever it all comes, the wage study and all that comes back around budget and everything, there is one that's in place. So I just wanted to kind of close that loop.
Performance
Evaluation.
evaluation has been done on all the employees in that department, which is
Yeah.
Good.
And it's already a
Each department is done one, or just one department?
Just one's compliant, we understand it. Right.
So I didn't think there was one period. And so I made one up and then I brought it up here to Amy for her to look at. And she said, you mean this one? And she turned her computer and there was a performance evaluation. She said it was given out to all of the department heads to do for their employees to go along with the wage study. And I don't know what happened on the in-between of how they weren't all inputted. I don't know, but there is one. There is a form, so maybe this year we can.
So you're saying there's a form that's the wage study hasn't logged in?
They gotta be
It's
executed.
gotta be executed by the department chair.
Yeah, one didn't have to be made up. It was already all done.
That's good.
So that part's taken care of.
Good deal.
Be interesting to see when come budget time.
Budget's always interesting.
It's coming very soon.
It is coming
It sounds like it's just yesterday. It is again. It's
Yeah.
coming very soon.
Yes.
It is March.
Like a bad rat, it's gonna come back.
Yeah.
You didn't say like it just yesterday. I'm like, it will happen in April very soon.
Do we have any other discussions we need to talk about?
How's the situation with the courthouse? Other than,
Do you know anything more than I do? They're waiting on a compressor part for the new system that they put in. It was wired incorrectly and burned it up. So the new part was tore up. So we're waiting on a replacement part.
So everything else is good to go besides that then?
Yep.
Are we?
Well, are we finished with it financially with them?
No, I mean, this part that we're having to get, or we gotta pay for it, or train gonna cover it.
That's been a back and forth thing, the way I understand it. And I don't know the resolution on that. That'd be a Brandon Miller question.
so the American Legion is in the back of the courthouse now. If you go up the stairs to the left where Dwight Jewell used to be, that's the American Legion. I guess they're setting up. They had a meeting with somebody somewhere, and they got approved for that. So they'll be inhabiting the courthouse also.
Okay.
I didn't know about it. But I was in a group message about, hey, who all can help move things. And that's whenever.
Where are they coming from?
The Ward School.
Wars.
That'll be in the party.
Yeah, they said they couldn't keep things heated and
Oh, I'm sure.
something else, and so they said it wasn't worth it, and I guess, and one of the members was actually saying, well, gosh, we kind of did a bit of work to get in there, and now we're gonna move. And, so yeah,
Well-
they're heading up there to the back of the courthouse.
Okay. I just wanna see that building get the use and the good out of it at some point.
Well, we're on the courthouse. I'll mind you that the discussion has started 5 years ago that we have window issues.
Yeah.
Those have still not been fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's be very careful. I know we spent 900,000 on an HVAC system, but, and we're supposed to have an election commission move into that area in the back, which has vaults and things that are needed. But there is
Mhm.
a large cost on windows in 2019. Were estimated for that antique building. There's only one company at that time that built them. Oh, they were a little over 250,000.
Being that it's a historical
Right.
landmark, I
Right.
wonder if there's
Yeah.
any grant money out there.
It would be great to know, but we haven't hired a grant writer yet. I know that's in the discussion to try to hire one in the next budget. So you will see that,
Copy that.
to move a grant writer into the county just for county benefits. It can be very beneficial to us. It's worth, they're worth their weight. They will pay for themselves.
One good grant for them windows or something like that would make it more than worth it.
Yeah, I remember all those discussions up in the courthouse with Dwight and that, I can't remember the name of the company, but how they were gonna try to keep the historical look because of the building itself.
Sure.
That we have to keep
You
it
got to,
historical society. It has to stay with the same building.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just thinking when we talk courthouse, be careful.
Yes. Do we have any other topics for discussion? Seeing that we have no public here, there's no, I guess there's nobody to offer public comment, all right?
Much to adjourn.
Second.
All right, that's not available. Y'all have a good
Aye.
night.